Welcome to Her Lights, your home for women's sports coverage. I'm your host, Erin Foley, a stand-up comic, TV writer, and most important, an obsessed sports fan. I break down the best games, highlight the best stories, and interview the best from the world of women's sports. So put on your jerseys, stretch out your hammies, and let's do this. Hello, Her Lighters. It's Erin Foley back in the booth talking women's sports. My guest today, very exciting, former U.S. Women's National Team midfielder, earning 31 caps and was part of the squad that finished runner-up at the 2011 Women's World Cup. Sorry about that. A standout at the University of Virginia, two-time ACC Player of the Year and All-American. Holy shit. And went on to play 14 professional seasons across the WUSA, then a name change, WPS, and then finally the NWSL. Since retiring, she's become one of the most respected voices in soccer broadcasting, working at CBS Sports, ESPN, Fox, and MLS Season Pass on Apple TV. But most importantly, we recently had beers and watched Unrivaled with a record-breaking crowd at Xfinity Mobile Arena in her hometown of Philly. Please welcome Lori Lindsey.
Thank you. Goodness, that intro made me feel old.
It shouldn't make you feel old. It should make you feel like a total badass.
I was like, well, I've crossed all women's professional leagues in soccer. Here we are. Yeah. Thank you for having me. It's good to see you again.
This is all recently. It's not like in the turn of the century when we were stitching leather balls together.
That's true,
right? You're crushing it. Okay, you are a woman in demand, so we're on the clock. Let's hit it. NWSL Kick-off. Obviously, this is a very exciting weekend. What are you? Just some general questions, some softballs. What are you like most pumped about?
Yeah, I guess so many things. I think one, just the trajectory and the momentum behind the league. That's like the overarching theme. We have 5 broadcast partners. Victory Plus just came in as a streaming platform. They're going to do a Sunday night game of the week. So yeah, that is exciting. There's just so many places for fans to be able to tune in, watch. And specifically, though, we have 2 new teams, expansion teams in Boston and Denver. And so in Denver, their home opener is March 28th. And as of like even just a couple weeks ago, there was 45,000 plus tickets already sold for that home opener. I'll be there. It's going to be bananas and exciting. So I'm looking forward to that. Boston's home opener is actually this Saturday at Gillette Stadium versus Gotham, the reigning champions. So tune in, ABC. Their coverage, they'll be there live at the stadium as well. So yeah, just so much to be excited about on the field. Outside of those 2 expansion teams, I'm looking really forward to what Washington's going to do. They lost in the championship the last 2 years. They retain the majority of their squad. Trinity Rodman, as a lot of people who are probably listening to this podcast would know, became the most expensive and most paid women's soccer player in the NWSL. Yes, Corey Bethune has moved on to Kansas City, but for the most part, they have Adrian Gonzalez, who took over halfway through the season last year. He'll be starting this season, and just a lot of bright spots. I'm really looking forward to seeing what the Washington Spirit do. And then Triple Espresso potentially is coming back. Tren. Sophia Wilson traveled for this game. They're playing Washington on Friday night. I'll be on that game.
Nice.
So she's slowly gaining momentum back from being a maternity leave and giving birth to her first child. So, and then Mao is on her. It's unclear when she'll be back, but the hope is that she'll be back this season. So yeah, I could go on and on, but like let's just stop there because that's exciting.
It's so fun, and I love when I was checking out the schedule this weekend. I was like, oh, I love that. Immediately, Boston is playing New York to see if that could become a rivalry, which is so fun. Mm-hmm. And then my second thought was like, well, obviously as a New Yorker, I hate Boston everything. And then I see a clip of like Sam Buis being so well-spoken and sweet about Boston FC, and then Christine Lilly. I'm like, it's impossible to like hate these teams in women's sports. It drives me insane.
I know. We love them, and we also understand your hatred for Boston.
Yeah. I'm like, don't make me like, I can't, there's no like, how can it, like Christine Lilly and Sam Muse are like legends. I'm going to be like, Boston sucks.
Actually, you need to go to one of the live events, just get up there on stage.
Yeah.
That's how you
Start
open up.
heckling. Just start heckling Christine Lilly. Like the nicest, most decorated
Really,
cap.
who?
Yeah, you stink. Remember that header? Oh, that's right. You won the, yeah, you put the whole, you created the league. All right, well, whatever. Whatever. Yeah, it's just the amount of like storylines this season, I think is just like, yeah, the expansion, all of it. So when you typically call games, like, are you like at the field or in like a booth somewhere? I know Saskia like does, I was interviewing hers and she's like, I go to a, I don't know, a soundstage in Miami or something. Like, what does your world look like when you're calling games?
Okay, so I'm just going to give people a little bit of background because what Saskia was saying is the way of broadcast as well. Side note, like, yes, I feel incredibly grateful because with Amazon Prime, we every Friday night we are at the stadium. We go the day before, we meet with the teams in person. We have a production meeting on the day of the game, and then we are live at the stadium. And I also call games for CBS. And for those games, we're live at the stadium as well. So I feel, and Major League Soccer, I'm live at the stadium. So goodness gracious, I feel incredibly lucky because of
Amazing.
it. Yes, that's the word to sum it up. It's amazing. You get to feel the vibe of the stadium. You interact live, obviously, with the coaches. That is not always the case for everyone, just depending on who you call games for or how it works out. Some broadcast companies will or partners will have some of their games at the stadium, and then others will be called at the studio that Saskia was referencing, which is essentially tons of studios, and you have multiple camera, like, well, you have multiple monitors and televisions to be able to see tons of different angles. I mean, it is as close to being at a stadium as you can imagine with not being even in the same city. So in a lot of ways, it's genius what you can do. But obviously, and there's some advantages in terms of you're contained, right? I mean, it is a full on, like you are in the mix and it is energy galore, which I would never trade that in the world for I just think it's amazing. Um, but yes, there are some differences, but I go to all the stadiums is what I should say.
I love it. I was hoping you'd say that because to me, it's like, I'm like, listen, to call a game is so exciting wherever you are, but like to be at the stadium and get all of that energy and excitement and to like actually, I don't know, it feels like it must be an advantage just to feel that. Do you feel like you're in the game more?
Yeah, you definitely do. And you're looking around. The reason why I was saying in like a studio, sometimes you're contained. I mean, obviously, you're not dealing with the weather. I mean, I have called games when it's blistering hot and you're sweating, you're like literally melting in the booth. And also when you're freezing. I mean, obviously, it's like playing. So those are just like some of the smaller details that you're dealing with. But yes, you do get the advantage of like Friday night when we were there with Prime Video, that place should be rocking. It's going to be Washington versus Portland. Rowdy Audi is what they call it, with Audi Field. And historically, they get tremendous fans. And also, they just done such a good job washing the spirit with like continuing to build their community with their fans. And those fans are committed. So yeah, you're looking around during the game and you're like, this is sensational. So
Yeah. If you, let's say, like, I have no skin in the game, like, someone's new to the NWSL and they just want to, like, give me, like, the top one or two, like, I'm dying to go to Audi Field, but give me,
yeah.
like, the top, like, best in-game experiences, like, live at the stadium.
There's quite a few, but I would say top of mind since we're talking about Washington, Audi is fantastic. I mean, that place is rocking. Portland,
Yeah.
um, Providence Park, and then obviously Kansas City with their stadium is just CBKC Stadium is it is a beautiful pitch. It is I know the grounds crew, and they take such good care of the field itself. But yeah, the stands, the fans there too, obviously are just bananas for their team.
Yeah, there's a couple road trips. I've been to Providence Park in Portland. It was just so awesome. I absolutely loved it. I
Yeah,
would give a shout out to ACFC when it's full and it's
for
crazy.
sure.
That's really because it's
Yeah.
so beautiful. It's such a beautiful stadium. But like, you can't be Kansas City it's like created for women's soccer. There's something so cool about that, which I absolutely
Yeah.
like. I'm like,
With Angel City, it is it's a fun place to call a game too, just with the setup of where the booth is. You're like in the stands, which is there's just different levels in terms of where we call games at different and how high we are, depending on the stadium we're at. And that's one of the ones you really feel the fans and you're like immersed within them.
yeah, it's really fun too because it's like there's soccer lore because of all the investors. We get a lot of
Yeah.
99ers there, and then you get celebrities that like clearly they've never been to a
Yeah.
soccer game, and it's hilarious, and they're just like looking around. It's like a spectacle, but it is really fun. All right, off-season trades. Anything grabby or like holy crap that one's on the move.
Yeah, I mean,
There's a
immediately,
lot going on.
yeah, there's been a lot of moves. Now, a lot of that had to do with like the two expansion teams coming in and players being able to choose where they want to go and no college draft. So typically there's just going to be naturally there's just going to be movement within that. But I think the biggest one that caught all of us was the Croy Bethune to Kansas City from Washington, and then Claire Hutton from Kansas City to Bay FC. So those two immediately, I think, are like, whoa, okay,
Yeah.
things are being mixed up. Here we go. Let's see what these teams look like. What else? Ludmila from Chicago, Brazilian striker who was in the Golden Boot race for quite a bit of the season. Um, she made her way to San Diego. That was a big move, in my opinion, too. It sent a lot of money to, and rightfully so, to Chicago. So I'll just be curious to see what Chicago ends up doing with all of that money because we
Mhm.
haven't seen them spend it yet. And then actually one that they just, I know this is going to be aired on Thursday, but one that was just happened today was Penelope Hawking, who was at BFC just to Kansas City, not for money, not for a particular player. And that's not the biggest name in our league, but she was the leading goal scorer for Bay FC last year. And there's just a lot of moves between those two teams, and just not surprising, I think, from Kansas City because they are aggressive with their moves. So, and I think that just proved another. It's unclear exactly when Shawinga has been dealing with a hip
Mm.
injury. So when Shawinga is going to be ready, I haven't heard a specific date or not. So can just tell that, listen, they're always having their eye on players that are going to continue to push the organization forward.
Do you think when Kansas City lost last year, to me that was like I felt like that was like one of the most dramatic upsets. Like I know it's Gotham, so you know what I mean? So it's not like
Yeah.
insanely surprising, but like to that felt like agony of defeat. Like you're number one, you're so much better than any other team the entire season. And then like the earliest exit you could go at, it sort of was I was like, how do they respond? And they've in the off season and new coach, new players. I like where do you think they're at compared to last year?
Yeah, it's a really good question. I mean, I think the tough part is within all of that, in sport in general, but they won the Shield so early. And a lot of the talk was like, you got to keep the team motivated. Now, that team was extremely motivated in general from losing the year before to Orlando in the semifinals, um, after having like those two
Yeah.
basically battling it out. But I think when you look at both of those teams, I just referenced Orlando and Kansas City. Barbara Banda on Orlando and Tim Wishawinga on Kansas City. Those have been two of the top players in our league. And Barbara Banda got injured partway through last year. So, but she was still one of the highest goal scorers last year until other players who played the entire season caught up to her, right? Which makes sense. She hasn't played half the season. But I say all of this because when each of those players goes down, there's even though you're made up of so many more players, those players are exceptional. And what they do for their team is much more than just score goals. They occupy other players, they occupy defenders and frees other players up. And as much as teams want to say yes, it's like we want to attack in different ways. So much goes through those two players. And quite frankly, a lot of times they're undefendable in really important moments because they're not just scoring goals at random times. They're scoring goals when it matters the
Yeah.
most. And I say all of that because Timma went down with the hip injury.
Brutal.
And I think it just changes the complexity. It changes the confidence of the players in the team and how they're going to attack. And they had to deal with Kansas City in particular, had to deal with quite a few injuries with their attacking players throughout the season last year too, despite being so successful. Players were in and out. But I think that's the challenge. So to answer your question as well, like where they are, I think that's a big question. I think they'll always be contenders because, as I mentioned, they're going to be aggressive. They want to win. They're very committed. You can see that across the board from the top down. But I think when you have Chris Armas, who hasn't been on the women's side before, even though he's been in the game for a long time on the men's side, he's the new head coach. Vlatko Ananoski's moved to the front office, and then you have Tim Washawinga, from my understanding, is still not going to start this season. Claire Hutton is a big piece in the midfield. So there's still just some like question marks on like, Haley Mace went to Orlando, which is like not really the rival, but kind of. So
Kind of,
he's
yeah.
a defender, yeah. So there's just like has been some movement on the team that has me thinking like, okay, what is this team actually going to look like? Are they going to play a little bit differently? Yeah. So what are they going to look like? So I can't really answer that until I think the first couple games. But I'm excited to see.
Yeah.
And no doubt are they going to be motivated?
It is fun too because like I'm obviously not a diehard Kansas City fan by any means, so I can imagine like as fans you're like, oh man, we lost that player, like trades and stuff. Well, actually, I can speak to this because as an ACFC like season ticket holder, I don't even recognize like 3 weeks in, I'm like, oh, that's seven new play. Like it's every
Yeah.
year you're just like I don't even like you go in game day and you're like okay, we just got these three in the back line. We just got a
Yeah.
new coach. We got another coach. And then we got another like it's been so crazy. But the Mace tour Orlando was interesting because I remember when McCaskill, who we loved at ACFC, went to San Diego, which is supposed to be our rival, which sort of is, but it's also like, eh.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, she's dead to me. I was a little dramatic about it.
Yeah, I should have mentioned her on the big trades too, because you're mentioning from Angel City to San Diego, and then she's been there for the last few years. But now she's actually at Gotham. She had started,
I didn't
like
even
she
realize that.
started
Okay.
her career when they were Sky Blue, New Jersey Sky Blue. So now they're Gotham, obviously, and she's back there. So
Okay, she's
um,
not dead to me, I guess.
yeah, okay, she's she's revived.
But if I ever
Her
meet her,
image in your mind. Okay,
and I have a
perfect.
couple gin and tonics, I'm going to tell her how I feel. And I'm sure that will be an important moment in her life. Okay, we have to discuss this because you're the perfect person to discuss this with. Um, the She Believes Cup, this rule, I'm so obsessed with this rule. You
Yeah.
get 1 point, each team gets a tie. If it's a tie, you get 1 point, then you immediately go into PKs, and whoever wins the PKs gets another point. So the winner of the tie or the PKs gets 2 points. Um, I'm sorry, I'm obsessed with this. Like I've been obsessed with this for so long. Like it takes almost 90 minutes for me to get to ACFC Stadium. I have a fake chicken sandwich for $25. I don't know half the team. And then it ends in a tie, and I'm irate. I am completely irate, and it's a buzzkill. And the league is expanding. We need more viewership. We need more butts in the seats. And I think this rule being implemented in the NWSL would be amazing. Hit it, Lori.
Okay, well, I understand all of that dynamics around why you become irate. I'm not sure everybody's experiencing that dynamic though when they go to games.
I'm pretty
So
sure they are. I'm
uh,
pretty sure they are.
maybe in LA. For the other 15 teams, I'm not so sure. So I'm going to take that into account. I, for one, don't really feel as strongly in terms of being so pissed off about ties. So let me just start there. I mean, yes, if it's a tie, you're kind of like, all right, that, bummer. We should have had it would have been nice to have like a winner, right? But it's like everyone was battling to the end. We couldn't get one. And so here we are with 1 point each. So I don't have a strong feeling about ties. Yikes. And also why I'm against this, I would say, in the
Wow.
NWSL is because I'm also like, I don't want those players to be out there any longer. We already have sometimes like 10 extra minutes on each half in terms of extra time added on. So you're saying 90 minutes plus 20, and then let's all line up to do another like 15 minutes of penalty kicks. And I'm like, no, not
Well,
at all. It's
okay.
good.
Then what I'll do is
Especially
I'll
with two new teams coming in. There's going to be more games. We're going to start to see these teams play midweek as well. So no, I'm thinking absolutely not. Even though I really enjoy this conversation.
well, how about this? How about there's no extra time? Like, right? Like at 90 minutes, it's 90 minutes. It's not like because last season was insane. It was like every time that it was at hit 90 minutes, it was like plus 11. And we were like,
Right.
what? So
Yeah,
no extra
exactly.
time. When you hit 90, you hit 90. So speed it up, get off the ground if you're not hurt, and then it goes to PK.
Yeah. Mike Sod, listen up, NWSL
Yeah,
players, coaches. If you're not injured, get up.
get
90 minutes
up.
is done, and if it's tied, penalties.
Yeah. I'm I'm gonna
I think
take
you
a
should spin this around and let's get a
yes,
poll.
right? It's begging for a straw poll. I I I I don't want to like ruin the sanctity of the game, but then they started making all these rule changes for baseball where I was like I grew up like an insane baseball fan and my dad was a crazy baseball fan and he was like they're ruining the game, you know. And
Are
so
you Yankees?
oh yeah, crazy Yankees fan.
Okay.
But now you get used to the rule changes. Now you're like, all right, there's a guy on second in the ninth inning. All right. So now I'm like, well, there's PKs. There's PKs after tie in the end. Like we'll get
Good.
used to it.
Get it out on the socials and let's see what
Yeah.
people are saying.
One more, one more reason. You could take all the starters who are arguably tired and the players that don't play take the PKs.
I mean, I like the depth that you've gone to to really get in here and investigate how this should be changed.
I'm just
Just
saying.
picturing you at Sports Illustrated Stadium for US versus Colombia this past weekend and being like,
I
this
was,
is if we go into penalties, this is genius. Just
well,
throughout leaves.
okay, we're going to spend the last 3 minutes talking about that
Oh, well, you would have gone to
because
Canada prior. Did you go to the game prior to that? Canada and
I didn't. I didn't realize that game was before. Like I went with friends and I was like, oh, I would have doubled up. But they have kids. And I was like, oh, I wish I had
no,
known
you
that.
already had enough sport.
I was like, well,
You would have doubled up.
I would have absolutely doubled up. I
Soccer
didn't know.
game, hockey.
Hockey, I can't get enough. I have a problem. I'll garden. Um, but here's what I want to ask you real quick. The Columbia the Columbia, I thought at one point Columbia looked like they were wasting so much time, like in this around the 60s, 60 minutes, 65, 70. I felt like they were slowing the game down. It felt like they were playing for PKs.
Yeah, they might have.
I
And I
was
say that
so
from like
irritated.
I say that from like more of a tactical
Yeah.
aspect, knowing
Yeah.
that the US would want a faster paced game that would suit the US to press. They're in front of their own fans. And Colombia would certainly be like, okay, one of the tactics we can use to our advantage is try to slow this game down, not be in a rush to get the ball back into play if it goes out of bounds, for sure. No
Uh,
doubt.
so I didn't want that. Like
And that is like the
I was irate for the other reason. Irate's a strong word, but my blood was boiling because they were shoving us. I say us because I always feel like part of the team, but they were literally so dirty, not usual Columbia. I feel like they were just literally the ball would be over here and they would just like shove us. Then they were slowing down the game. I thought maybe to get to PKs and I wasn't having it. I thought that was a very annoying game to watch.
I don't know. I wasn't able to watch all the game because I had Major League Soccer, so I had to leave after halftime. But I would say that's international. It's just the international
Yeah.
game, right? It's just
Yeah.
like finding the smallest little details on how to win and what you can use to your advantage. And that's the thing. It's like Colombia would have known that they they had progressed and gotten better throughout that tournament.
Yeah.
But they would have known, again, like I said, the US would want a fast-paced game. So let's slow it
Yeah.
down. Yeah.
I just hit me. I just yelled out, "Why is it so slow?" I was just like, "What are you slowing the game down?" My friend's like, "Who are you talking to?" I was like, "I don't know." At this point, I was just really talking to myself because I was
Yeah.
like, I can't, I was the PKs I want in the NWSL, but in that game, I'm like, we can't lose. Like, we can't be tied and go to PKs against Colombia because then really anybody could win. We don't
Yeah.
have Nair in goal, then going back out and kicking it and back in goal.
Actually, that was the point that I was going to say too. No one really wants to be winning on penalty kicks or getting an extra point, I would say, in these moments, because no one like loves penalty kicks, I would say. So,
Fans
and
do.
well, maybe the fans do, yes. But I would also say something like Aubrey Kingsbury, right? Top of mind because she just announced her pregnancy. But the last 2 seasons in playoff games has come up huge, made
Huge.
critical saves in penalty kick shootouts. And I think there's something exciting about that too, where if we were going to these penalty kick shootouts all the time, it would just become much more of, in my opinion, in this case, it would just be like you would start to understand the nuances and the tendencies of the kickers and
Right.
which is advantage for the goalkeepers, and I'm not against that. But I think there's the element of surprise a little bit in the playoffs when we do go to penalties if there's a tie in extra time as well. Then you get some heroics like that from an
Yeah,
Aubrey.
it's true. That's a good point. That's a good point. It's an annoyingly good point for not having PKs after. Okay, fine. I'll take all your points in consideration, but right now my mind is not. It's still on the PKs, but I will think about what you said and I will get back to you.
Yes.
Okay, wild prediction. We have 30 seconds left. Who's taking it all? And then we'll come back to this moment in November.
My right now, Washington.
Mm,
I think that they're the team to beat right now. You have Adrian Gonzalez, who has continued to grow over the last 2 years, even though he was an interim position, and then as the head coach, and then went back to assistant, and then took over second half of last year. Trent's back. You even though you lose Croy, who is such a substantial part to their attack, you've got some young players coming in, and you just continue to like
yeah.
refresh, and you have another year, I think, of them understanding and growing, and also just motivation from losing the last 2 seasons in the championship.
I love it. Okay, I'm gonna go with ACFC. Takes the
Fair.
whole thing.
Listen, I'll say this really quickly. I've been on a number of these previews for the season, and Angel City, I think this year is the most complete Angel City team that I've seen. Get Savvy King back. Emily Sams has been traded. Oh, should have
Love
named
her.
Emily Sams. There's been
I
so many trades
love Emily
from
Sams.
Orlando.
Yeah.
Obviously, those two accompanying Sarah Gordon in the back. They could play a 4-back. You could play 3-back because you could push Giselle as an outside, like a winger. Hina Sagita, June
That
Endo.
was a good pickup last year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, um,
I'm hopeful.
yeah, you have just
Yeah.
so many important players, and it's gonna be
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah. I'm not
So
gonna do the
I'm hopeful for you.
Yeah, yeah. I'm hopeful that at some point, if I don't get the PK rule change, which I'll start a letter campaign, if that doesn't go anywhere, then at least ACFC has some sort of a winning season, and we consistently know who the coach and the players are throughout the season. That would be that's I got a real low bar, but I'm really hopeful.
Yes.
It's gonna be
I'm
so
hopeful for
fun.
you too.
All right,
First
great.
20 minutes won't be as bad
Yes.
driving anyway.
Yes, it'll be fine. It'll be fine. Thank you so much. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much for taking the time, and hopefully you'll call a game in LA and we can hang out. That's it for today's episode of Her Lights. If you're loving the show, do me a huge favor. Wherever you listen, rate, review, and subscribe. It really helps me grow the podcast and get more people discovering how amazing women's sports are. Leave a 5-star rating and drop a fun review. I'll pick my favorites and read them on the air. And if you've got a story, an athlete, a game I should know about, shoot me an email at erin@herlights.com. I would love to hear from you. Fans, friends, family, have the best week of your life.